Uncracked codes often lead to a myriad of conspiracy theories that try to explain their meaning. Some sound plausible, and some sound a little over the top. But there is one particular unsolved code that has bugged many linguists, scientists, and historians until this day because of its wild theories. Even the great minds of Charles Dickens and Charles Darwin couldn't break this code. But has it finally been decoded? Hi there, welcome to our channel. In today's video, we're going to find out if the famous Shugborough Inscription has really been decoded after more than 200 years of solving it. Throughout history, many have tried to crack the code and come up with different theories, perhaps the most famous of which is that this code, once solved, will reveal the location of the Holy Grail, the cup that Jesus Christ drank from at the Last Supper, and the same cup that was used to collect his blood at the crucifixion. Will there be an answer that will finally end all these theories? Before we find out the answer to this question, have you heard of the Shugborough Inscription before? Tell us in the comments below. First, let's get to know the background of the Shugborough Inscription. In the Shugborough estate in Staffordshire, which has beautiful gardens and interesting architecture, the Shepherd's Monument is found. This monument has 8 mysterious letters carved on it, OUOS via VV, with the letters D and M on either side. It is found in Shugborough Hall, a property owned by the National Trust, and it's located about 6 miles east of Stafford in England. Originally, the bishops of Lichfield owned the estate before it was taken over after the monasteries were dissolved around 1540. The old manor house was destroyed in 1693, and a new 3-story house was built to replace it, with more additions made in the following centuries. In 1966, the National Trust opened the house to the public with the help of Staffordshire County Council. Even though Patrick Lichfield, the 5th Earl of Lichfield, continued to live there until he passed away in 2005, an apartment was made for him in the hall. Then, in 2016, Staffordshire Council gave control of Shugborough Hall back to the National Trust. Now the property is still open to the public for visits. So on the grounds of Shugborough Hall, there's a monument called the Shepherd's Monument that was built in the 18th century. The carving on it is a copy of a painting called Et in Arcadia Ego, or The Shepherds of Arcadia, created by a French artist named Nicolas Poussin between 1637 and 1638. The picture shows 4 shepherds looking at words on a tomb that say Et in Arcadio Ego, which means even in Arcadia, I am there, in Latin. The setting is a place called Arcadia in Greece, which symbolizes a perfect and peaceful life that's impossible to have. The original painting is mostly seen as a reminder of death, known as memento mori in Latin. These are artworks meant to make people think about their own mortality. The title of the painting and the words on the tomb suggest that even in a paradise like Arcadia, death is still present. In this case, the I in There Am I is thought to refer to death. Although the carved sculpture is an absolute attraction, it's not the main reason people find the Shepherd's Monument interesting. Underneath the copy of Poussin's painting Et in Arcadia Ego, there are 2 lines of letters, OUOS, VAVV, and DM. This collection of letters is now called the Shugborough Inscription, and the curious thing is that nobody knows what these letters mean. Over the years, many ideas have been suggested about their meaning, some sounding reasonable and some sounding like conspiracy theories, but none of them have been convincing enough to solve the puzzle of the Shugborough Code. One of the most popular ideas is that the Shugborough Inscription might be a hidden message revealing the location of the Holy Grail. According to Christian stories, the cup that Jesus used to give wine to his followers at the Last Supper is the Holy Grail. Later, Joseph of Arimathea, who helped bury Jesus, supposedly used it to collect Christ's blood during the crucifixion. The Holy Grail is also a big part of Arthurian legends. In the stories about King Arthur and his knights, searching for the Holy Grail was a major part of the tale and is what many people connect with the legendary king and his Round Table Knights. However, this idea cannot be fully confirmed because there's been no clear evidence that strongly supports it up until now. Having said that, numerous efforts have been made to figure out the unsolved code, but there's one solution that appears to be the most reasonable explanation for the Shugborough Inscription. Before we go there, what are your thoughts about the Holy Grail theory? Let us know in the comments below. Keith Massey, an expert in language and a teacher of Latin and Arabic, claims he has discovered a convincing solution to the puzzle that has confused many intelligent people throughout history. Massey worked for the highly classified National Security Agency of the United States after the events of 9/11 and has extensive qualifications as a Latin teacher. According to his interpretation, the letters represent the phrase "Oro ut omnes sequantur viam ad veram vitam," which translates to, "I pray that all may follow the way to true life." This sentence follows correct grammar rules, and in Massey's view, it relates to a passage from the Bible, John 14:6, "I am the way, the truth, and the life," which in Latin translates as "Ego sum via et veritas et vita." He states, "I think I figured out the puzzle. I think my idea offers a logical and believable explanation for this enduring enigma." Furthermore, Mr. Massey believes that the letters D and M located below the main carving have given a hint to deciphering the code. These letters likely represent the ancient Roman abbreviation dis manibus, which means "for the manes." The manes were spirits of ancestors in the Roman underworld, and these initials were often used in early Christian tomb inscriptions. Mr. Massey clarified, "This gives us a hint about the right way to understand the longer series of letters. The inscription was meant to be seen as a Latin composition for a memorial on a tomb." He also says, "I've come up with a clear and grammatically correct sentence in my solution, and all the parts of it can be found in tomb inscriptions and texts from before or around the same time as the Shugborough inscription was made." He highlights that sticking to a straightforward approach is the right way and suggests not trying to find any hidden meanings. Additionally, the presence of 3 consecutive V's was also important. He notes, "As someone skilled in codes and secret writing, I assume that whenever a letter appears more frequently than others, it's a significant clue you need to pay attention to." But even with this strong case, many people still seem not to be convinced by Massey's explanation. One of which is A.J. Morton, an expert who specializes in studying monuments, tombstones, and the Knights Templar, it seems. He boldly dismissed the puzzle as just meaningless scribbles. He proposed that the people living in the house, George Adams and Mary Vernon Venables, might have created these inscriptions themselves, which raises the simple question, why would they do that? There's no logical reason for the residents of Shugborough to confuse anyone with these inscriptions. Morton also has doubts about Thomas Anson, a British member of Parliament, who initially ordered the monument's creation in the 1700s. The monument was built between 1748 and 1763 by a Flemish sculptor named Peter Shee, paid for by Anson's brother George. However, it's uncertain whether Shee or Anson might have carved those letters. On a different note, experienced codebreaker Sheila Lawn suggested that it might be a romantic message written in Latin. Another idea connects it to a message from the Knights Templar, Jesus H. Defy, which is believed to reinforce the Templar belief that Jesus was a human being on Earth. Another commonly held idea which gained prominence due to the global interest in the Da Vinci Code and the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail is that the inscription contains hidden messages connected to the Priory of Sion. Pierre Plantard, who established the unconventional fraternal group, adopted the phrase "et in Arcadia ego," found on both Nicolas Poussin's painting and the Shepherd's Monument, as the motto for both his family and the Priory of Sion. The idea first emerged in the popular 1982 book, The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail, written by Michael Bejean, Richard Lee, and Henry Lincoln. The book proposed a theory suggesting that Jesus married Mary Magdalene and had kids, implying the existence of a living lineage connected to Jesus. According to this theory, the descendants of Jesus and Mary went to southern France and married into noble families that eventually became the Merovingian dynasty. The Merovingian dynasty, which had a unique connection to the French throne, was supposedly safeguarded by a secretive group known as the Priory of Sion. The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail book proposed the idea that Nicolas Poussin, the painter of Et in Arcadia ego, was a member of the Priory of Sion, and his artwork held concealed mystical messages. Because of this, many people think that the Shugborough inscription is somehow related to the Priory of Sion and the potential whereabouts of the Holy Grail, whether that refers to an actual object or the suggested lineage of Jesus. The discussions about the Shugborough inscription fit into many conspiracy theories. However, that's exactly what makes the whole mystery interesting. This might be why a lot of people attempting to solve the code don't fully embrace Massey's explanation, because it is not as thrilling as the other theories, even though it does appear to be the most sensible one. With all those theories presented, which one stands out as the most reasonable for you? But do you also think that the code may be mere scribbles? Comment with your thoughts below. If you enjoyed watching this video, give it a like, click subscribe, and ring the notification bell. Thanks for watching.